Nothing can stop me. I'm all the way up. Is it all the way up or on the way
Beyond the
up?
horizon, where the judge really talk with the tiny details. Change the way you walk beyond the horizon. Past the glitter and the glare of broken gap, you break it down 'cause they've been there. Beyond the horizon, we are raising how you care.
Welcome to episode 2 of Beyond the Riser.
Where we talk about all things cheer from the judge's perspective.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Brooke. You can follow us on Facebook. Actually, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at Beyond the Riser, and on TikTok at Beyond the Riser _pod, because they stole at Beyond the Riser, so we can't use it. You can also find the pod on Apple and Spotify at Beyond the Riser. First, let's talk about what did we do this weekend? What's going on right now?
Brooke, what did you do this weekend? Because I think you and I might have done the same thing.
I think we did. We both judged together actually this weekend.
You know, I was thinking about you this week because I was just thinking about like how much I love judging. And I was telling some of my friends that are not judges that like don't understand, especially because Brooke and I judge virtually a lot together. And they're like, how do you do that? And like, how do you talk to each other? And I was kind of explaining to them like, oh, do we talk to each other? We have so much fun. Do you want to highlight a little bit maybe on like, because I know some people when they see virtual judges, they're like, what? Like, how does that work? Do you want to maybe talk about like what that looks like for us?
Yeah, so I've done, I'm sure you have too, both in person and virtual judging. I like virtual because I actually have more time to count. I judge tumbling the most. I have more time to count skills correctly. Or if I'm the tech judge that week, I have more time to like look at it and break down the pieces and give them actual feedback to fix their skills or like explain what I meant. So clean up back handsprings, right? But like what specifically do I need them to clean up in their back handsprings? You know, that could be a number of things. So I just feel like virtual gives me more time to more clearly explain and correctly count quantities or identify skills. We talked last week about how sometimes people throw skills and I'm like, oh my God, what was that? So, you know, I can go back through and look at it to see what it was or what they were maybe trying to throw.
Right.
And I just think it makes it a little bit easier. But also the judge chat pops off. Shout out to all of our friends, Jessica, Jennifer, again, Sam Mack. We have a really good time in there.
We do. So I kind of agree with you. I like virtual judging because so a lot of times when I do virtual, I do the head judge role, which I kind of am like looking over all the different categories. And I really like it because I feel less distracted. When I try to do that position and I'm in person, I'm like wanting to watch whatever team's on the floor, but I'm really like 3 teams behind what the rest of the panel is because I'm going through each of the individual categories and I'm checking like, is the judge being consistent? Are they giving comments on why they gave a certain score? Or if it's on day 2 and the score went down, are they explaining the score went down because of this? So it definitely is. You kind of go through it with like a fine tooth comb. And that's the other thing too, is I don't think a lot of coaches realize that some event producers have that position and some event producers don't, because I have worked for event producers that they have like a, what they might call like a Q&A, like a quality person who's just checking like the spelling, but they're not actually like a judge that's checking to make sure the scoring is consistent and it makes sense. So I have said 100 times over that like that head judge role makes such a difference because you're getting that almost like third set of eyes on it before it goes out to the coaches. So I don't know. I just like having more time to be able to go through everything and like be in my own setting and it's quiet and I can have my coffee, where when you're at competition, sometimes it's just like chaotic and trying to watch 2 different things at once. So I actually agree with you. I think that we're able to give better feedback when we're home. And I think coaches and athletes sometimes, or even parents, are like, well, they're not here. So how do we know they're not running off into the forest? Because we're not, because we're literally sitting there for 12 hours still judging your teams.
I also like the particular system that we had this weekend. You can click and see, like I was tech this weekend. you can click back and see your comments and your scores from the day before. And what I usually do, like when I'm virtual, I will, because I have time to do that virtually, I'll go back and look at my day one scores and comments, and then I'll rewatch the routine with a fresh eye. And it's nice to be able to say, like, wow, I really thought that was better today. So I feel like I like that particular system that we can do that. And I like the head judge role virtually because you can also remind us, hey, you're taking point one away from them, but you didn't leave a comment why. So essentially, if I don't give them a perfect score, then I have to leave a comment of why I didn't. And it may be something really general, like your timing just wasn't absolutely perfect. It was good, but it wasn't perfect.
Right.
So I think I like those systems because when I was a coach, those are things that I'm like, geez, I wish I understood why you're giving me point one off in XYZ. So I think it's nice.
Yeah, I worked a lot with the like scoring director of the company that Brooke and I judged for this weekend. At one of our end of season events last year, we kind of like talked about creating this system where there's like 3 sets of eyes before it goes to the coaches. So you have like the panel judges that score, and then you have the head judges that are checking it. And then we actually were having our score review person check it again to make sure. And then it was really nice because when the coaches come in to score review to ask a question, they've already seen it. 3 different people have already seen it. And so then the conversation isn't like, hold on, give me 10 minutes to look at this. And then you have the line that's out the wazoo of people waiting. So that system that some of these event producers are doing, I feel is really working. And when I'm in like that score review role, I did it a couple of times this year of just like being in person. I feel more confident to having a conversation with coaches of like, hey, you know what? I already checked it. We made a mistake and I fixed it for you. And then they kind of are like, oh, they care because we do. Or flip side of that, hey, ABC Elite, like I actually viewed your routine already. Come sit with me and let's talk about it. And then you go through it. And it just feels, we talked about this a little bit on the last episode. It just feels a little more like friendly educational rather than you're fighting for your life. Because I hate that feeling as both the coaches' view of it and the judges' view.
I think coaches go into it, and I probably did before I was a judge also, and they're like, oh my God, they just want to take points away. But honestly, like low key, I feel bad when I can't give somebody like a good, especially in tech or even in difficulty. Like I'm doing my best. Sometimes, you know, you didn't max out, and I will review that to go back through to try and find that one skill that you're missing to make you max out. So like I don't go up there like ready, you know, to kill your score. I want you to max out and to get a perfect score. Like let the technique be the decider. Let something that I'm not judging be the decider. Let overall do it, because I always say I want everyone to hit the best routine they can, and like if you hit, then that's great. And if you don't, let that be the decider or something. I don't know.
Don't you feel like sometimes when you go to a competition, if you're in person, that like you feel the eyeballs like following you? Like my heart races when I walk out of the building sometime when I go to my car because I really
don't follow me.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm like, I love you all. Like, I think I one of the first videos I ever made on social media was like, judges don't hate you. We actually love you. And you have no idea how much we love you when you make it easy for us because we want to give you all the points. But it's also like, if you don't do your job and we have to fish through all of these things to try to find the points for you, that's really frustrating. And so I feel like we are trying our very best, but you also got to make it easy on us. So coaches, when you're setting your routine up, don't try to make us go back and count your 1,000 tumbles to get you your points.
Okay, we have a running joke on one of our judges chat. I had this team one time where, first of all, it was like a younger team and they were doing cartwheels / round off. Like some of them were doing cartwheels and some of them were round offs. And I was like, I can't even tell you what these are. Also, they had no tumbling patterns. They were just like all over the floor. So I literally put in the judge chat, I said, oh my God, this is going to take me 2 hours. It's 1,000 tumbles. So now we all joke about it every time it's a team that's kind of like, there's a lot of stuff everywhere and you can't really tell what they're doing. So if you're doing that, we are talking about you and we call you 1,000 tumbles if it's me on the panel, because a lot of us are on this panels week after week and we joke about it like we know now So don't be that guy.
No, don't do that. One thing that I've noticed, and I'm like honestly impressed with a lot of the teams, I think they're starting to pick up on for both open championship scoring for that like innovation driver and your routine composition. And then on United, tumbling creativity, that's like everybody's kryptonite. I think coaches are starting to get it. Like they're starting to understand that that doesn't mean you need to do this like crazy, funky, weird handstand roll, Valdez, one-handed cartwheel, back walkover, switch leg thing. All you need to do is make it easy for us to see it. And if you're showcasing different tumbling patterns, tell me if I'm right, Brooke. You're like the expert on this. That's what we're looking for, right? Is like clear patterns.
I love level 1 because it incorporates so many cool skills. So I even like in level 4 when people do back walkover, back tucks, love it. Just don't have bent legs in it because then I'm going to comment and I'm going to kill your tech. Or even if I'm your difficulty judge, I'm going to be like, oh, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like that's where the two scoring systems are different. Where you have United is literally about patterns. Like that's if so I actually saw somebody on ASGA the other day, they were trying to help another coach out and they were asking why their creativity score was so low. And he literally took a screenshot of the rubric and highlighted tumbling creativity and said, by definition, this does not mean creative tumbling. It means clear patterns. But then on open, this is why I like, not to say I like one rubric better than the other, but you can pick up what I'm putting down. Open gives you a little more freedom to do creative elements, to do the back extension roll tucks or the back walkover tucks and get rewarded for it. Where United's a little bit more black and white of like, do exactly what we're asking and then we'll score you well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we need to do a whole episode on United versus Open, to be
Yes.
totally honest, because they, as a judge, they are very different,
Yes.
especially in tumbling. Like, just it's a whole different beast.
Perfect. So note that's going to be an episode for us. I think it's time. So I'm looking out my window and there are no clouds in the sky and it is blue and the sun is shining. Do you know what that means?
I do. It
What's it mean?
means that end of season events are coming.
Yes, it
Hey,
does. End of season
um,
event time is wild.
it is. What's your favorite one?
Oh, I think I have two different answers because as a coach, it's different than as a judge.
Okay, what is it as a coach?
It's Summit. I remember going as a coach to Summit and just like ever since the new arena has been built, it feels different because I competed at Summit in the like big blow up tents. Like I don't know if you
Yes,
remember that time, but that was like a
I
thing.
do. Once I was there and there was a storm and we were literally competing in it, and I was like, this is going to blow over.
Yes.
Like, what's happening?
Yes. So I think my opinion's a little bit skewed because I expected it to be that way. And then when I started coaching, it was not. And now it's like so cool that there's like a whole facility built for cheerleading. So I think that feeling was really cool of just like getting to go in there and like everything is cheerleaded. And it's just like fun to look around and everything is cheer. Like there's so many.
One thing I hate about the new arena, though, the coaches like box viewing area is so small, and like you
Yeah.
don't get, that's the only thing I don't like. It's really hard for the spectators. I just went to high school nationals, and going on that floor, there's just like no space for you there. Not that I need like a foot of floor space or anything, but like if you have a decent sized group, or like let's say another team from your gym, like you're going to warm them up right after you compete, like there's nowhere for them to go on the floor, and then the parents are like right on top of you, and I don't love that.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I think it's also crazy because there's so many different perspectives depending on if you're a coach, if you're an athlete, what type of program you have that gives you like a different view. And I also think my opinion's skewed because my one summit that I went when I was coaching with my best friend and it was just the two of us. And it was like just so special. I remember like just me and her, like we had the best time. So I think my opinion's a little skewed. But as a judge, I have a very different answer. And I was like in a toss up between two. But after thinking about it multiple times, I think I have my answer. So I'll tell you my second place winner. My second place winner is Youth Summit in Tampa. I judged that last year, I don't remember, 2 years ago or last year. And it was just different in Tampa. There's so much to do. It's big, like there's a lot of room to walk around. It was very well ran. Like everyone was so nice. I just didn't, like you said, I didn't feel crammed at all. The hotel we stayed at was right connected to the convention center. You just walked right across. Like it was really nice. And I feel like, I don't know, it just felt very well put together. But my number one answer, and I was there 3 years ago, is All Star Worlds. That event is so epic. Like, it is so cool to see people from all over the world. And like, it's just a different vibe. You feel like everyone is nice and kind, and everyone wants, obviously, like there's tension because it's an end of season event, but staff wise and judge wise and even coaches wise, like I really feel like the event is really well ran. There's tons of people. There's multiple different halls. The convention center is big and beautiful, and there's room to walk around. There was like a whole area, like a whole hall that was dedicated to like food, which I thought was amazing. So I love All Star Worlds. Your turn.
Plus, you get to hang out with Craig Hallmark.
Shout out, Craig. We love you.
I've been friends with Craig since, oh my God, like 2005. We both owned gyms in Oklahoma and we became friends. And we'll have him on as a guest at one point.
What's your favorite end of season event, coach and judge?
I'm starting choreo in April this year, which is insane for me. I've never started this early. I'm already fully booked. Like, I have nothing left. I had somebody ask today if they could switch dates, and I was like, actually, no, because I'm so full. Like, I can't do anything. I really liked Summit as a coach. I'm very curious. I haven't been since they split Youth Summit. So I'm curious what that's like, because my biggest complaint before was that it was just so packed and it was really hard to navigate. There were always really long lines at the food trucks, and like, you just never, it was hard. You couldn't find seats anywhere. So that was my favorite one as a coach. I think I would probably like it more with Youth Summit being in Tampa now. Shout out, Craig, put me on All Star Worlds. I'll judge it.
I'll just like tag him right at this, whatever the minute mark is. I'll be like, at Craig.
By the way, if you haven't registered for Cheer Coach Academy's Coaches Conference, go to the Cheer Coach Academy website, use the code QueenBee20 and get a discount so you can listen to me yap.
And you know what's great about that is, like, even if you are a coach that's attending All Star Worlds and you miss the live Q&A, you get all the videos. You don't have to actually be present in order to attend that conference, right?
It's completely virtual. So if you can't be there, you still get access to all the videos. And I believe she's videoing the live Q&A. So if anyone asks questions, like, you can see that still also, which is cool.
It's beautiful.
Our guest today is from my second home state. She's Sooner born, Sooner bred, and when she dies, she'll be sooner dead. Everyone from Oklahoma knows what that means. She is a University of Oklahoma cheer alum. She's a gym owner, an amazing small gym advocate, a mom. I call her Kathy with a double down Weeden. Did your intro so I could call you Kathy with a double down Weeden.
Oh, God.
Okay, wait. I have to tell the story.
Okay.
So Kat owns a gym in Oklahoma, and I owned a gym in Oklahoma.
Yes.
And one time at a competition, her parent team was competing, and I saw that Kat was warming up with them. So I'm like, let me get to the front of that floor. I need to see this in action, okay? So I'm watching, I think it was like she was middle pyramid or something, just chunking those human beings up there, making things happen. All of a sudden, everyone comes down and she's in a prep all by herself. This girl double downs, like, beautiful technique. I look at the person next to me and I'm like, I'm sorry, did Kat just hit a beautiful double down? I thought she was a base.
And I'm a back spot. Okay.
It was so good, though. I was like, hello, technique. Where did that come from?
It's one of those things where, like, you teach it enough, you're like, oh, I could do that. Like, I could do that.
So I'm gonna need video evidence. I need video evidence of this.
I'll send you the video, and I'll send you the last video I did. So years later, we do this parent team, like, in Rust every couple of years. And the last one we did, they were like, oh, we need to do the double down again. I was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. Went up to go do the double down. And when I tell you, like, everything that could have gone wrong in the double down went wrong. And there's, like, a video, like, of me, like, sliding across the ground, like, my face on the ground. And we got up, and you could, like, literally see, like, my makeup on the ground of the mat. And we got up, and the guys that were basically were like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, no, man, that was me. I was like, I was like, everything you're not supposed to do, dropped my shoulder, jumped off the stunt, went forward instead of backwards. I was like, we should just all be happy. Like a little bit of rug burn was all I got. I was like, that's retirement of the double down. And I haven't done it since.
We ask everyone when they come on, the very first question, what would be your walk-up song if you had a walk-up song?
I'll do this. Run This Town, Jay-Z, Rihanna.
Ooh,
Okay.
That's a good one.
And I'll say, because I would say consistently since that song came out, it has been like one of my hype songs.
Yeah.
Like for sure. And it's one of those songs that like if I'm ever kind of like in the valley, like before an event or before competition, you know, that like that moment as a coach, in my case, a coach and an owner, where you know, like I have to bring my A game to the warm up and my A game to the team, because that team is sitting right there where like their momentum is going to go up or down. And you know, you have to be the one that sparks the fire. You know what I'm talking about.
yes.
Like that's like the song that I'd put in my ear to go like, okay, you got to get them ready to run through a brick wall.
That's
like
right.
what they do on the floor is on them, but you got to get them ready to run through the brick wall. So that'd be it for me.
Okay, did you listen to it before you did the terrible double down?
No, but I probably should have. Or maybe taken a little coaching before I went.
You were like, dang it, I didn't listen to Run This Town today, so this is not going to go well.
Yeah, listen, 2 babies later, I was like, maybe everything isn't as tight as it used to be when I like try to like, you know, find hollow.
Tell us a little bit about you and your cheer background and all of that. I already said you were sooner born and sooner bred, and when you die, you'll be sooner dead.
Sooner dead, absolutely. So
Guys, I need to understand. So we're gonna, I want to hear all about Cat, and then we're gonna make like a segue to please explain.
Yeah, we're gonna talk Oklahoma, because unless you live in Oklahoma, you don't get Oklahoma, and it's a whole thing, right? And so many people are connected to Oklahoma and cheerleading. It's just not even funny. It is not even funny. Just like the state. So I'm originally from Oklahoma, but my dad's a physician, my mom is an attorney, and we went where jobs took them when we were younger. I'm one of 5, so I've got 2 older sisters, 2 younger sisters. Grew up in Moore, Oklahoma, but then left and went to Minnesota. I lived in Bloomington, Minnesota for a couple years. Then we went to North Carolina, lived in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and then moved to Michigan. I went to middle school and high school in Michigan. I know, because you're an Ohio person now. Yeah. Middle school and high school in Michigan. In Michigan, and if you've got siblings, you get it. Like my oldest sister, when we were in North Carolina, became obsessed with cheerleading. So my parents were kind of like, it's just easier to send all of you guys to tumbling. It's easier to send all of you to this stuff. So we all went to tumbling, but I was the third of the oldest, so we were kind of just following her. By the time we got to Michigan, I joined the middle school team and realized that I just became obsessed with the mechanics of everything. Ended up, if you know Michigan cheerleading at all, it is like 10 years behind everybody else's cheerleading. You don't know that when you're in it, right? Like you don't know that when you're in it. But it's really super clean. It's really super sharp. It's really super execution based, but it's not super high skill based. Then it is way different now, right? So I'm on a high school team and middle school team, and there is 2 camps that run all of Michigan, like this champion camp, and then at that point, Cheer Michigan. Cheer Michigan decided to do an all-star team. We didn't even know what that was because, like, again, we're like in this fishbowl in Michigan, and they're like, we're going to do an all-star team, and literally people from all across the state can come and try out to be on this team. And literally like a couple hundred people came to try out to be on this team. Me and a couple other girls from my team made it. My older sister didn't make it. It was kind of weird, but like she actually wasn't that obsessed with it at the time. And we were on this one all-star team that was coached by 2 of like the best high school coaches in Michigan. I think they were from Sterling Heights at that point, which was like a very, very strong school. I may be lying. Look, somebody's going to text me and be like, that was the wrong school. So no, Utica. They were from Utica. That's what it was. UTICA. Let's hear you say Utica. There we go. 20 years later. So we do this practice once a week at a gymnastics gym, and we're just kind of doing like really what felt like high level high school stuff, right? But like high level. Never been on a spring floor. This is when All Stars just getting onto a spring floor, just coming off a flat mat. And we went to like COA Nationals in Orlando, and it literally changed my life. I went to that Nationals, and there were skills I had never seen. I had never seen a double down in real life. I had never seen anybody throw a double full. I had never seen a toe back. I'm serious. Like, and I'm like I'm like in high school at this point. I had never seen any of these skills. Like, and I was obsessed. And I begged my parents to buy like all the Mr. Video videos from the entire time that we were there, Polk County All Stars, and all these people that you probably don't know because you guys, you're Gabby, you're for sure much younger than me. We get back from that nationals. I do cheer Michigan through the rest of high school. And I start watching the videos, and I'm like literally watching these videos. Somehow I convinced the 8th grade coach in like 9th grade to let me come back and help. Like at this age, I would never have done that. I start basically kind of coaching like in 9th grade. I am literally taking dances off of Mr. Video and teaching it to the 8th grade team. I'm taking parts of stuff and bringing it to my high school. I just had no idea. Like we just had no idea. I knew that Oklahoma was our family school. My dad went to medical school at OU. My older 2 sisters had gone to OU for undergrad and then for medical school. And I was like, I'm going to go back to the family school and get back to the epicenter of cheerleading because I knew cheerleading was big in Oklahoma and big in Texas. Tried out for OU, did not make it out of like senior year of high school, but wasn't that stressed about it. Moved, still went to Oklahoma, and literally sat next to a girl in my like first class that was like, yeah, like I'm on this open team at Oklahoma Twisters. If you've done cheerleading, like you should totally come. And I was like, sure. Like I was going to figure out how to coach, but I just had not gotten that far yet. Went to one practice, joined the team, and a month into it, I literally went to Jeff LaForce and Craig Hallmark, and I was like, I don't know if you need a coach, but I'd love to coach for you. Have you coached before? And I was like, yeah, I've been coaching for like 5 years. And they were like, you're like 18. And I was like, yeah, but like, I was just helping. And they gave me a job, and it changed my life. Craig Hallmark and Jeff LaForce owned a gym, Oklahoma Twisters. And it was like this super family friendly, like very non-traditional gym. We practiced just on Sundays, didn't practice in the summer. We just did so many things that were kid oriented because where their school district was there was a lot of dual sport athletes. So they had made like all these things to make all-star work for school, for kids who were playing softball all week and volleyball and baseball and playing on their basketball teams. Because in Oklahoma, you have these really large school districts, and then you have small school districts where every kid does everything, right? You're kind of good at doing dances. Can you start doing dances? Can you start, we're going to teach you how to do Oklahoma State words and choreography. And they kind of took me on this path with them. And it is wild. And I mean, 23 years later, I'm still a choreographer in Oklahoma for state and for regionals and for nationals. And during college, I then got an opportunity to go and cheer at OU, which was really super cool. Some of my greatest friends ever doing that. Got to cheer and compete in Daytona, got to kind of get that. We also did 2 years where we drove like half of our all-girl team down to Cheer Athletics and did Cheer Athletics Fierce Cats when it was open. Oklahoma Twisters did a Worlds team, and we got bronze at Worlds. So that was also pretty cool. And I'm at my husband now, and he was going to go to Tulsa for the police academy. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go to Tulsa also. Got the opportunity because I'd been working with them when I was in college to go coach at Tulsa Union, which was at that point the strongest and the most leading high school program in Oklahoma, if not across the country. It is a high caliber, super successful, super strong program. Really pretty cool. Yeah, it was really pretty cool. The Tulsa schools up here have these crazy facilities, crazy football stadiums. Bixby High School has like phenomenal facilities. They've got the best football program in almost the country at this point.
Okay, so also when I moved there, this blew my mind. 2 things. Number one, during your school day, instead of PE, you can take cheerleading as a class in some districts. And
it's
I
a
was
first
like,
hour or 6-hour sport.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What? So I was like, yes, it blew my mind. So instead of PE, they'll go to cheer, and their coaches decide however they want to spend that time,
right,
whether it's practicing or if you have to make the run through for the football team on Friday or like whatever it is. The other thing, which Gabby has no idea, but like most of the schools play at these giant stadiums. Where I lived in Lawton, there were 3 high schools, and they all played at the Division II college stadium. We call it the Shady 580 Lawton.
Yeah.
And they play at the local college stadium because these games are enormous.
So for me at Union, we had 0 hour and first hour. So they practiced from 7 a.m. to 9:15 a.m., 9:30 every single day. And during state time, we would 2 a day. So they practice 7 a.m. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9:30. And then we would practice from 4 to 6 after school 2 days a week. we're practicing 7 times because here we have our own facilities. We have cheer facilities in the
Guys,
school.
I need to move.
Okay, what do you think the biggest struggle for small gyms is?
I think that is like threefold. I think if you had asked me of this before the pandemic, I would say athlete retention. But I think that we banded together during the pandemic and worked together and found ways to stay alive. And I think that community helped. I think right now the biggest struggle is ever changing policies and grids. And for a lot of people, feels like it's just being slammed. Like, this is changing on a Monday, this is changing on a Tuesday. Whereas it feels like there are a lot of times that people have a heads up before time that are not us, that know things are coming down the pipeline. I think still the exposure on social media is still a problem for small gyms. The companies that rely on us to be their customers sometimes forget that like they need to showcase us also. Because I feel like if people don't ever say anything, like, and nothing ever changes, I do not think that anybody that's sitting in social media for any of these companies is like purposely like leaving people out. I think that they are going, well, this got a lot of clicks, so we're going to do another gym that's similar to that and get a lot of clicks, right? And what I just started saying and started messaging and Instagramming and sending emails was, I need you to understand that there are thousands of gyms in your uniform and you are only highlighting the largest gyms. How would it feel if we all stopped wearing your uniforms?
There's two different parts to it. You have the event producers that do the registration, the money, and then you have the judging side of it. And those are two very completely separate things. There are some event producers that I've worked for in the past. I have no idea who runs the event itself. I only know who schedules the judges and what my job is.
It will make you crazy if you get in the weeds on that all the time. So I have to like choose my battles, which is I continue to go to EPs that I feel like have integrity at that event. Not every event from any EP is the same, right? For us, United Scoring is the better option for where our gym is. That being said, I have a hell of a lot of respect for the Open and for the All-Star Championship Series. I've said it before, Heidi Weber used to work for my gym, and as I've known her for 20 years. We used to work together at Union. Like, these people that own companies, like, there are so many options, but nobody is without like a little bit of mud on their hands, right? I personally, and I love Craig Hallmark. He is literally like my first boss, one of my mentors, and I love what he has done with the Open and scoring. The Open scoring doesn't work as well for our program as United Scoring works, and that's just the truth. But for me, I think the best environment and the best community that we can have in cheerleading is one that's diversified and one that has options. So I like it when the score sheets are more similar. I like it when the age grid is more similar. It is not about what is best for Luxe Cheer and Cat Weeden. It is about what's best for the masses. And at some point in time, we've got to start deciding that just because it's not what I like or what I want doesn't mean it shouldn't happen. I literally deal with people all the time that are on our small gym page that are like, I'm D2 in size, but I refuse to be D2. And I'm like, wonderful.
Okay,
do you
then
have
get
to
out.
announce it? Like, what good? It's not what we want to do. And I'm like,
So don't.
that is free will, right? That's
Right.
free
So
will.
don't.
Right? Don't use it, right? We opt into D1. In some areas, the smartest thing you can do is opt into D1. In some areas, people have to be D1 because there is no D2. In my area, every time we compete Junior 3, there's 7 to 8 teams in it. Every time, you know? Yeah. But I don't know. I think that what I realized the most over the years of small gym is that there is not a one-size-fits-all solution. You have to do what's best for the majority, and we have to keep kids at the center of our decision making. I am a believer that like you have to do what's best for the majority, even if it doesn't help you. People know I feel this way, and it is something that I bring up all the time. There is a problem in scoring across everybody right now. There is a problem in scoring. There is a super huge disconnect between coaching it and you guys judging it. On our end, it looks very black and white. And on the judge's end, it looks very black and white. But the problem is the way that we get the score sheets and the rubrics and the explanation and the way that you guys are being taught to judge it are not the same. If somebody gets a degree of difficulty driver wrong on the panel, you can go and arbitrate that. We have a process on both sides of the different score sheets. We have a process on how to deal with it, right? And when somebody gets a degree of difficulty driver wrong, the The people that are in arbitration for that will go and look at it, and they will decide they either, yes, got it wrong, or they got it right, and here's why. So what we're saying is that point deduction potentially, legality potentially, degree of difficulty, start values. What we're saying is that somebody who is a human on a panel for 12 hours maybe gets something wrong or maybe missed something, but you have a safety net for them. A lot of the big events has one person who's deciding difficulty in stunts, one person who's deciding execution in stunts. Your difficulty judge, we're saying, sometimes gets it wrong, not intentionally. Sometimes we do not choreograph routines in a way that makes it easy for you to catch everything we do, and that is on us, right? Sometimes they get it wrong. The second judge, I think it is too much pressure and it is too much burden to say that whatever that second judge says or whatever the overall judge says, I'm so sorry, they're 100% right. Why do they not get an opportunity to say, oh my God, I got it wrong?
Or that comment is trash.
Right.
Literally.
Why? I don't know that I would want to be a stunt, tumbling, or an overall judge on execution side where nobody ever challenges what I've said and nobody ever double checks me and nobody ever says, hey, we're 6 hours in and every score in this division is coming out the same. Yes, there we go. Do you need a break? Are you okay?
Kat, I want to talk about that because Brooke and I talked about this before you got on. Brooke and I have been working for some companies that have now implemented a role of 2 different people. Exactly what you're describing is my job. So I go through and I'm like almost 3 or 4 teams behind everybody else. And I'm going through and I'm watching that routine and I'm looking for the execution comments that are being made. Do they match not only the routine that you watch, but does it match the score? And then is that score, are you scoring, like making the choices on what drivers you're choosing to take consistently throughout the division? And if you're not, you know what I'm doing? I am immediately going to that judge and I'm saying, you need to go back and fix this, or I'm fixing it myself. And the fact that there are these large event producers that do not have that role is so detrimental to our industry. And I say it all the time that I don't understand why coaches are not aware of what events have that role and what do not.
There is not a whole lot of transparency on how it works. Coaches have an emotional investment in their teams doing well. Coaches also are fully aware of what our kids do really well or really, really bad on the day of a competition. I don't think any coach has ever walked off the floor on like we barely survived that. I mean, it's a 0, but it's an ugly 0 and is expecting like a 4.0 in execution. I think across the board, we're really missing the mark in scoring on a lack of arbitration and execution. And I think that puts too much pressure on the shoulders of the execution judges because there is no safety net. God forbid everybody has a good heel stretch, but at the ripe age of 9, they look a little different because their body lines are different, because this one has short legs, this one has tall legs, this one has a short arm, this one's flexibility in their hip is, I see that she's working really hard to pull it in front. Well, I'm trying to make them all look the same. Her natural body wants to pull it to the side. There are things that we like over criticize in cheerleading. Do we double down with our arms at our side? Do we double down with our arms here? Do we basket riding with our arms down? Do you want to see a basket with your arms up?
I will say I really like, Gabby and I both judge for the same company a lot, the same EP. And one of the things they really preach is that you can't count off. I judge tech a lot also and tumbling, but I grew up a gymnast and I really enjoy tumbling technique. The thing they tell you is you cannot count off or stylistic choices.
Correct.
I can't look at that. I can only look at the body line. I can only look at XYZ. So I try to be really careful. Since I started judging, I feel like I've completely disconnected myself from watching like worlds and those big teams because I don't want to be biased and I don't want to know who's in first and who wins the most this year and who's the best. I just want to watch it fresh every single week and be like, you know what, today this team had the best technique, or count your skills appropriately. Before you came on, we were talking about the event that we did this weekend and we were judging virtually. And I said, I actually really like judging virtually because I have time before the next team to look over my day 1 scores, look over them and then I'll rewatch the routine again. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I gave them a terrible score on like jump timing yesterday and their timing was phenomenal today. I'm not going to change that day one score, but I'm definitely changing that day two score and saying,
because
like, your jump timing was so much better today.
That is what's supposed to happen, because we should be erring on the side of kids.
It doesn't. We are literally told not to. We are told for certain event producers, you are not allowed. And this drives me crazy. It's really why I wanted to start this podcast. We are told you are not allowed to make comments about day one scoring. You need to look at day two with a fresh set of eyes. And I think that that's crap, because you as coaches get our comments. And if the comment says you had flex feet in your toe touches, and then on day two you fix it, you should be rewarded for that. We, as a judge, I should be able to say to you, great job fixing your flex feet on your toe touches today. And then you should see that change. You should see the point one that was taken is now nothing.
For kids, because this is a kid's sport, when we get comments on the score sheet, I don't look at those comments and go, these judges are idiots. I go, give the people what they want.
Yeah.
That's my mentality. Between day one and day two, I'm like, okay, y'all, let's clean it up. Let's fix it. Like, I am not the person that gets the scores and is like, this is BS. Like, they're stupid. Like, I get those things and I go, what can we tangibly on a 2-day event? What can we tangibly fix realistically, reasonably, that gives us the best and highest impact for day two without creating chaos, without creating stress, without creating this, right? I tell the kids, and I told them after NCA, and I told them during NCA, for us, like, if you give them the ability to critique it, you can't control how much they take from you, right? So when your leg is dangling in that lib, they can decide it's a 10 cents, a 20 cents, or 30 cents problem, right? We want them to make it a 10 cents problem, but we can't control if they make it a 30 cents problem. So what's the best way to not have them be able to choose how much that costs?
Don't give them any change.
Right? So like, that's how we talk about it in our building and with our kids.
I was going to ask you, I'm certified in both. I think Gabby is also, but I actually prefer judging on the open because I do judge a lot of technique. And when I'm making comments, I kind of comment as if I was coaching that skill and what I want to see. So like this past weekend, I had a team that was doing a really weird approach and it killed their timing. It was kind of bouncy. And I'm like, if you would slow that down and dedicate a count to that and hit that cone, it would really fix it. And they came back the second day and did it. And I was like, your approaches are beautiful. I can give you a perfect score on them because they look so much better. I hope that everybody takes that into mind when they're scoring that, because I was a coach first and I think about it that way. Like, okay, what can I change overnight that's not going to, like you said, cause complete chaos, but they're going to want to see better and moving into it. I hate to nickel and dime things, but there's got to be a winner and there's got to be a loser.
100%.
I also think too that on the judging end of it, like there's not enough training for the execution piece. And I know Brooke can attest to this too. Like it's, again, I keep saying this is why I choose the event producers that I do, is like there are event producers out there that do zero training on zero. Like it is literally, you get a 0.1, a 0.2. Like when we go online and we have to do all of our things to certify, you certify in building or you certify in tumbling, and all the questions are difficulty based because it's black and white and it's right and wrong. Whereas why is there not more of a conversation of watching a routine and saying, I give a 0.3, you give a 0.1. Why is that? That doesn't make sense. So we need to have a process. And don't get me wrong, I do not know what the answer is. I don't know exactly what the safety net is. My job as a judge is to do what I'm asked to do. And 99% of the time, there are things with the scoring systems, or I'm having coaches conversations in score review that I want to say to them, I don't agree with this, but I don't have a choice because this is how the scoring system works. And so backtrack on the execution pieces. I just wish that from a judge's perspective, that there could be more training and that more people would jump on the bandwagon of what some of the smaller event producers are doing, and why they have consistent scoring throughout the season is because we're talking about it. We're having meetings, we're having trainings before the season starts. We're streamlining what execution should look like. What should the comments look like? And then we're working together all season because we're all the same people that work every weekend together. And now we know that is a minus 0.2. That is a minus 0.1. That's not you give a 1 and I give a 3 and my 3 comment has one sentence and your one comment has 7. Like that doesn't make sense. And so I just think that on the back end, all of event producers, no matter which scoring system you're on, need to do a better job at understanding that every category judge, not every category judge's job is different. And there needs to be explicit training for judges on every single one.
Yeah. I agree with that because now I don't mind judging tech because I feel like I'm pretty good at it and I give good coaching comments towards them because I watch all the Craig Hallmark training videos. Please. Yeah. I think there needs to be separate difficulty in tech training maybe, and maybe that would make it easier. Or like, are you a person that's really good at giving those coaching comments on that tech side so they can understand why? Maybe, you know, not everybody's certified in technique.
Part of me wanting to be a part of the podcast and being a part of this with you guys is to be able to say like the system and the procedures are the problem. And I have looked in the face of people that I have highly respected, and they just look at me and they go, I can't say that we got it wrong because there's no place to change it and there's no option and there's no way to change it. And I can't say that we got it right because I cannot go through everybody's videos and go through the entire division. And it is what makes it hard because y'all, I love the people that run events on both sides. Like there are United people under varsity events, under non-varsity events. There are open people under all of the different events that I am like, these are people that I believe so much in. And it is hard to have somebody look in your eyes and basically just tell you like, you may be right and this may be wrong, but there's nothing we can do about it. Event producers across the board need to understand that if we get to a gridlock situation like that, you need to give me my money back on the event. Like you need to for that team, because we're in a position where that team shouldn't have to just ride the wave of potentially missed scoring. Or if the scoring is accurate and somebody reviews the division and calls it accurate, then I can be settled. But being powerless and being in a situation where there's absolutely nothing that a group of 10 to 12-year-olds that have busted their butt can do to make a better day 2 for themselves. And the system basically telling you like, it is what it is I just think that there's a break and that there's a problem, right? And I think that we've got people smart enough under the Open, and I think we've got people smart enough and they're passionate enough under United that if there was a active effort during times like right now or post-season, before season starts, that we could all sit down, the United people and the Open people, and say, when did you feel the most powerless as a coach during the score review process? What part of that felt powerless? Can you understand as a coach that you're always going to be more personally invested and emotionally invested in your team, and that you're always going to think that your babies of Luxe Cheer are the best babies in the world? And I'll say absolutely. I still think that this was a problem. I think that we have to take ownership into the side that we're always going to feel like our kids are the best because we love them and we've seen the cartwheel. So when we see the layout get brutalized, it hurts us because I saw that kid's first cartwheel. Right. So like there's always that part of it, right? But I don't think I'm unaware of that part of it, right? I'm not unaware of the bias that I think Luxe Cheer is the greatest cheer program in the world, right? For every reason that has to do with competing and not competing. But I do think that there are holes in the system. And I think that score review on both sides end up with people getting just beat up by coaches and owners because of that powerlessness, right? Like as an owner, my job is to run a ship, right? And I ran a ship through the pandemic, through COVID, through, division changes, age group changes, dynamic changes. Like you are in charge of running this ship, right? That you got to steer clear and you have to make decisions every single day that keep your gym and your business afloat and that keep kids moving forward and happy and a part of something, right? Because we know that kids in sports and kids that are busy and kids that are engaged get out of high school a lot less beat up than kids who are not. So when we get into situations that feel very powerless and like we can't control at all the change, we can't control that maybe something is wrong and feels wrong or feels like it doesn't make sense, it is the absolute worst feeling in the world. and it is something that guts you, and it is something that makes you go back and look, I could like cry now. It makes you go back to children that believe in you and believe in the integrity of companies that you compete for, and you believe in these people, and it makes you go back to them and say, I'm so sorry, Susie, there's not a policy and procedure for us to get this right. What's a policy and procedure? I don't understand. So just enjoy this trip because it's over.
I think that's a big part of why Brooke and I wanted to start doing this, is because we have that same kind of passion that you do, Kat, but on the opposite end of the spectrum of like, I have always explained the reason I started doing what I'm doing is because I feel that there is a big black cloud between coaches and judges and the scoring systems, and I hate it. And it's awful. And I've sat on both sides of it, and I don't understand why that is. And so I kind of took this leap of faith where I was like, if I get in trouble, I don't care, because this is more important to me than this like black curtain that like you like hide behind when you're a judge. And so I just was like, we need to get out there and start having more of these conversations and getting on social media and allowing coaches to feel like they have a platform to talk about these things, that maybe we can make some difference. And so when Brooke was like, dude, let's start a podcast, I was like, this is great, because not only are you now hearing the coach's side of it, but we can have a conversation and say, this is what you see from the coach's side. This is what we see from the judge's side. Where is the disconnect? And even though we might not have the answers on how to fix it, I hope that when other people hopefully listen to this, they're like, that's a really good point that maybe we haven't thought of. And now we're seeing both ends of the spectrum talk about it. And if they're both in agreement that something needs to change, then maybe we make a change.
Okay, so if people want to join the Small Gym Association, can you tell them how they can join it or find it?
Yes, number one, you can only be in it if you are a small gym. And that is
good recommendation.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, people are like, oh, I want to be a parent. I'm like, no, you have to be an owner or a coach and to be in the group, right? Number two, we do not have franchises in there because we don't feel like that fits the mission of the group. So you can't be a franchise program. You have to be a small gym. You don't even have to declare D2, but as long as you kind of fit within our parameters. We don't have a specific number, but you can basically request to join a Small Cheer Gym Association, and there's vetting questions. Are you an owner or a coach? What gym is it? And then I'm going to literally stalk your Facebook.
I have a bunch of rapid fire questions for you.
Let's do it.
Okay, are you ready? The first one is, what do you think the best change that's happened in All-Star Cheer has been?
The addition of Division II.
The next one, what's your favorite competition to attend as a coach?
Anyone where I'm not crying in AccuSport because I have to hurt children's feelings. I would say year one of D2 Summit was awesome. I would say in the last couple years, I would say Youth Summit was awesome. Like awesome.
Gabby liked it too.
I said the same thing. I judged it a couple years ago whenever, and I was like, this event is so sick. I love it.
What do you think about the new Small Gym Summit?
I love it for small gyms. I hate it that they invited franchises. I understand why they did it. I don't think it makes sense, but I do think that if it is substantial in size, it needs to have a Division I, Division II split.
NCAA better in Dallas or in Houston? Because I know you're an NCAA lifer, girly, so very nostalgic for me. So what do you think?
But I would say that the outdoor space in Houston was really, really cool. And it kind of helped with the congestion. I think we all were not sure what was going to happen. But I think that Houston was a vibe.
Okay. Have you watched the Pro Cheer League?
Yes.
What do you think about the Pro Cheer League?
I am obsessed with cheerleading. And I got 30 minutes into the first match and went and took a shower. I struggle that they are at Division I gyms and that they are funding athletes that also get to compete the same weekend with their regular teams, but they've been flown up there, been paid to be there, but then they're like commoners like us the next day and competing. Same with like Team USA, like when's the next generation of those kids get to move up into there? The vets that are on it are phenomenal, but the dream isn't real for a lot of kids because getting into that exclusive club, you're a part of all of it. You're part of Team USA, you're part of Weber, you're a part of Pro Cheer League, you're part of Wildcats, you're part of, Double O. And that's not a bad thing. Those kids are phenomenal. If you're a pro cheerleader, you're phenomenal. Outside of that, I think that it is entertaining, and I think that it is cool to see a professional level of cheerleading. But I think that if you become a professional in cheerleading, you could no longer be an amateur.
What is one question that you have for judges?
Do you feel like the policies, the procedures, and the systems work?
Don't answer, Brooke. Don't answer. We're making a whole episode about it.
Okay, you look up Gina's question while I ask Kat. Kat, we do something where every guest, we ask them to ask any question of the next guest. So what would your question be to the next guest?
Who do you think the overall best world team is? Not necessarily this year, but if you were to say in the last 5 to 6, 7 years, who the best world's team is and why?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Anytime you ever need anything small, Jim, if you need me again, let me know. I'd be happy to do it.
Thanks for tuning in for episode 2 of Beyond the Riser. We're super excited. We have tons of more guests lined up. So if you either want to be a guest on our podcast or want to ask us a question that we can answer, Brooke, can you tell them where to follow us?
Yeah, follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at Beyond the Riser. You can also follow us on TikTok at Beyond the Riser _pod. You can find the pod on Apple and Spotify. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.